Talks with T and Shay.
Hello, hello, hello. T, you on mute. You're still on mute. I can't hear you. Can't hear you. You're on mute. Anyway, guys, if you can hear me
now.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, that's great. I don't know how that happened. Anyway, never mind. Hi guys, how you doing? Hope you're having a good week. I know I am.
Okay, so welcome to Limitless Talks with
me, T, and
Shaz. So we're here today, as we are on most occasions, to just allow you to have some space to be empowered, equipped, and to focus on what it is that God has for you. As you know, here at Limitless Talks, we love it when we can have guests on, and we have a guest here today. But before we go on, guys, disclaimer, we're having some technical issues with sound. Me and T are going to try and control ourselves today and hold it down.
We're going to do this while our guest is speaking.
Our producer is going to be earning his money today to kind of work with the sound so we don't have some of the issues we had last week with echoes. Just to put it out there, if there's anybody out there who is an expert on StreamYard who wants to connect with us directly in order to support us in the sound issues that we are having, we will appreciate that immensely. We will support you through prayer and through love. As you dedicate your time to us in this adventure.
We can offer you prayer and supplication. Right.
But guys, you know, thank you for joining with us. We've been away. It's the holidays, so you can imagine there's lots of stuff going on. We hope that you're enjoying your holidays too. Before I introduce Chantel, I don't know, T, you got anything you want to share with us? What's going on with you?
Last week, and guess what? It was Chantel's as well. Anyway, it was my birthday last week.
Yeah.
I was. How old was I? Let me just have a think. Let me just have a real think. I was older than I was last year. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I kept for weeks before I kept going, I'm going to be, oh my gosh. And I just kept going on about it. And my apostle said to me, T, are you worried about it? I said, no, it just is dawning on me that I'm getting near my 60s, really near the 60 mark now. So because and it just dawned on me. Do you know what I mean? But nowadays life begins at 60, doesn't it?
For a lot of us. I say, I've got this saying, and it's life begins every day. Yeah, so I try to live every day as if, I've got a redo. And it's only recently where I've really kind of taken note of that. And maybe that is age. But sometimes life can steer us in different positions. And, you know, I'm glad I've got the lovely Chantel Brooks coming on today. And she's a woman who is literally, I would say her whole focus is around how we set up ourselves in life. So she is an author. She has a ministry in her own. She's a businesswoman, entrepreneur, I'd like to say. Beautiful woman of God. I've known of Chantel, I've got to say, from my sister-in-law. So from growing up for years, you know, someone's name's always kind of been in your life somewhat. But slowly we get making those connections to kind of like connect together a little bit more. So, you know of somebody and you can admire them from a distance, but you don't really know enough. So I'm excited really to get her on, because as I've been kind of learning more about Chantel, I'm impressed. I am impressed, but I'm also really encouraged. And guys, I really hope that you stay on to the end, because whenever we have a show, there's so many nuggets in there, and I believe that a person watching will get something and receive something from today. So the show entitled today is, what was it again? I've got success in my head. The only thing is,
I've got success in my head and
of
as
success,
well.
of success. And the lovely Chantel is going to be leading this discussion today. So Chantel, thank you for coming. She's going to come on.
So here we go, Chantel. Here we come.
Good afternoon. I'm doing well, thank you. So well.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure to have you here today. I think you're a phenomenal woman anyway. So it's good to be on the show so you can literally share some of your journey and where you are now. Because it's so important as women, we understand that it doesn't really matter what's gone on in our lives. We all have gone through something here, there, and everywhere. But focus is so essential for future growth in everything that we're doing, and for the future generation to see us as pioneers and women who are trendsetters and you know what I mean, doing the right things. So over to you, Shez. Go.
So Chantel, whenever we have a guest on, we always start off with this one question, and is, how would you describe your words in 3 words? Or if I reword that, what 3 words would you use to describe you?
Oh, okay. I would say that I'm organized, I'm determined, and I'm loyal.
I'm always intrigued by people's words because it helps me to kind of paint a picture, because you put this forward. I'm like, organized, okay, loyal. Because a lot of these words also value checkups, aren't they? Value set. So why would you say that you use those words?
I would say I know me. I know my makeup. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm passionate about. And I'm passionate about organization in my own life and in others. So if you see me at home, I'm the same person that I am at work, at church, and I'm just about order. So I love to make sure that I have good organization. And I think it's a natural trait for me. So growing up, I was always like this. My mom would tell you that my room was always clean. I always had a system and a process for everything. I would plan. T mentioned my birthday was last week. You can guarantee that every year I would plan my own birthday and tell my mom what I wanted her to do, as well as my siblings and everything else. So it's just been a part of my nature, and I love to be organized. If anybody is disorganized around me, I struggle.
Wow. Sorry for saying that. Did you guys lose me? Was I still on screen?
Yeah.
I was. Oh. My computer went completely.
What is I'm struggling with the echo. Sorry. Do it again.
Okay. Let's get on with it. I thought I came up the screen. But you're saying that I still screen. My computer went off.
Oh no, I don't know. Sorry, guys. We did mention at the start that there is an echo on there. Excellent. It's not there now. So I was struggling to hear a little bit. So we're back. I can hear there's not an echo now. Fantastic. So Chantel, you just told us a little bit in terms of the upbringing, in terms of your organization. Can you tell us a little bit more about you as a person? What makes Chantel? Who is Chantel?
Okay, so what makes me up? I am a determined individual. I don't know how I do it sometimes, but whenever I put my mind to doing something, I will always make sure that goal is completed. I'm not a person that starts something and doesn't finish. I'm always one to finish something once I've started it. And so that's why I say that determination is one of the words that I would use to describe me, because not many people will write down their goals and actually see them come to pass. But that is just my makeup. I don't know. Sometimes I say to myself, I'm a little bit, because I whatever happens, that goal is going to be achieved. And I have a mentor, Carl George. He will tell you, whenever I write my goals down, 9 times out of 10, I will always complete them. And so I've always been like that. I've been focused, I've been determined. And so throughout life, although I've had various knockbacks, although I feel like my life hasn't gone picture perfect, I've always made it into something that I can be proud of in whatever way, shape, or form.
Wow.
So what does success look like? Because this is a topic which for years, I mean, we've mentioned it slightly on here, but the measure stick for success looks very different to different people. And until I will be bouncing this question at you as well, actually, because I think it's something it'd be good to kind of understand. But just Chantel, what would you say success looks like for you?
Okay, so success for me looks like the fact that I probably would be written off educationally based on the fact that when I left school, I only had one GCSE qualification, which they would deem as a pass, so a C or above. And that was in English, but all my other subjects were D's and below. And so for me, being able to go through the course of the years, studying while working at some stages during my life, studying while being a mother, and doing all of that, and also actually achieving my degree, a first-class degree, honours, and then being in different roles within the educational institution. So I've been a lecturer, I've been a teacher, I've been an assessor. Now I'm a subject leader for business in my school. So for me, success, I'm at that point of success now. I've been in education for 21 years. I feel like I've experienced a lot of things, good and bad, but all of those have shaped me into the person that I am today. And having that experience and having that knowledge allows me to help others. And so that's where I feel success is. My success is not saying I've done this, I'm doing this, but it's me taking my experience and helping somebody else, maybe not go through the same route that I took, but allowing them to see that success will happen for everyone, but we're all going to take different routes and different pathways.
Very good, T. What about for you? What would you say your success?
I can't speak after Chantel. No, joking. I think success is being able to achieve what you have set in your life to achieve, from my perspective. And I think for me, it's been, I can actually totally, I can't even begin at how much I identify with Chantel, her beginnings, coming out of school with no qualifications and still being able to make some kind of progress in life, which is beyond the comprehension of individuals. I remember when a lady, she came to assess me to foster, to take on a child. And when she came, she was like, you are the member of the family that was adopted. I'm like, yeah. And then she went, and you've got your head screwed on this well in comparison to the rest. Do you understand what I mean? And I was like, oh, okay. She goes, I think she said, you're a success story. That was probably the first time I'd ever heard that word said to me as a success, because in my definition of success at that time, I would have to be really in a big company at the top or something like that, because that's what I saw everybody else doing. So success is, to me, is accomplishing, achieving the things that you feel is essential for you to achieve in order to progress in your life, and including God in my life. I believe it's also to achieve those things that God expects of me to achieve as well. What about you, Chef?
Do you know something? I've got to echo what you've just said. My success is based on what I achieve, what I've aimed to achieve. Society can often put success in a very different light, because success is about how much money you earn. Success is if you're married, if you've got a big house, if you get to go on holiday more than once a year, or get to go on holiday once a year, full stop. And a lot of people's success stories are based on, oh, they're an actor, what they do for a living, or what they've achieved on that external huge social media platform type of spectrum. But I feel like it's successful right now, being able to get up, put on my clothes, leave my house. And sometimes, you know, depending on your own personal measuring stick. And that's why I always encourage anybody, especially those people watching, is success is going to look different to every single person. If I'm going to measure success based on the way even my sister, her life is going, I will be very disappointed, because me and her are not the same people. Or even a close friend of mine, if I measure it by how they've achieved and what they've been able to accomplish through their life, I'm going to fail, even down to my parents, but even down to other people who I would look at and admire. I can't measure my life successes based on their life experiences. Chantel mentioned that everything that she's gone through, things that she's done, good and bad, has allowed her to become the person she is now. That is success. T, you mentioned being able to weather through the storm. You know, you mentioned, you know, in terms of being adopted, but I know even having conversations with you recognize the blessing even in that. And the places that you've been placed in has allowed you to become who you are. That is a success story. The fact that we wake up every morning, we can still breathe and we still have life. I don't think any of us really grasp that that is success, because while we're still on this land, while we're still here on this earth, that means there's still something to achieve. So I think it's successful that we're still here to achieve something. When all is said and done, then it's all done and dusted. So there's nothing we can do about it. Literally dusted. Very much in that sense. But you know, life just has this way. And I suppose even with yourself, Chantel, in terms of what you do, in terms of encouraging people in this area of success, how do you find working with people who are really struggling with their personal circumstances?
It's important to be able to address what they're going through, because regardless of them wanting to be successful, the action has to take place in them. So they have to make up their mind that this is what I want and I'm going to achieve it. But when they have different things that are going on, family circumstances, self-esteem issues, other things that cloud over, you know, their judgment or their viewpoint, those things have to be addressed first. So if I'm doing a one-to-one, I'll make sure that we deal with the whole self. So we deal with the individual, where they're coming from, their starting point, and then you will take them to the next stage and say, okay, well, once we've dealt with that, let's look at steps to get you to this. Always allow them to see the bigger picture, because that is their end goal, regardless how long it takes them to get there, and what route they take to get there. As long as they have that in mind, then they will achieve it.
That is interesting. Very, very interesting. So, guys, one of the things she said is that some of you may be going through different aspects in your life that is actually taking you away from becoming the person that you see yourself as being. This is my translation. See yourself as being. Whether you're struggling with people, that could be your family, that could be anybody. Whether you're struggling with self-esteem, how you actually feel inside, you've got to deal with that first. And I totally agree with you, Chantal, on that, because it's really important that when we start to deal with us, it's so important that I mean, when we start to deal with us, we start to what's the word I would use? We start to gain an impression of who we really are, and are able then to fulfill some of the dreams that we have. In your life, if I could ask you a question, you've said you've gone through different struggles. What made you venture down the road that you're on now? Through even though having struggles.
Yeah, and you'll be able to read it in my book. So from a very early age, a lot of my time that was spent away from education was due to family issues. So we would go away for long periods of time. And so for me, it wasn't until later on I identified that there were certain gaps in my learning that nobody really picked up, nobody said anything. And that was mainly my primary education. When I went into secondary, the same family issues were there. And so I found that, as I said in the book, some of my issues in school in terms of my behavior and disruption and things like that came from what was going on at home. And whether I like it or not, it was learned behavior, or it was frustration, or it was not being able to communicate how I was really thinking or feeling. And so I had to have a epiphany moment where I was like, hold on, I've got to really check myself, because now I'm realizing I've not got long left in this place, and I need to know that I can perform when it comes down to exam time, etc. And so that happened for me around about year 10. So it was probably about 14. And if I'm really honest, was a little bit too late, because I needed to have that constant, consistency in my education throughout this whole time. So from year 7 all the way to 11, in order to get, a decent grade or decent grades within my subjects. But for me, that was just a part that I maybe hid away, or compartmentalized and put it to one side. Carried on doing life, going to school, getting up, doing various things. But later on, that began to show in, different things, my results, and behavior patterns, and so on and so forth. But I remember when I left school, I never ever would have thought that I'd become a teacher, because my feeling about school, I hated it. I just didn't want to be there. I just didn't enjoy it. I couldn't wait to get out. No, never. If you ask my friends, what I said what I wanted to be when I left school, it wouldn't have been teaching. However, 2 years after leaving school, I then had a thought that I would really like to teach, but teach adults. And so I started to explore that in a different way. And I thought, okay, yeah, I might be able to do this. It's not school, it's something different, but I'm still able to utilize the skills that I've got in a different way. And so I begin to explain this in the book, how I was able to complete or do one of my passions, which is to teach. And also I was doing IT as well at the time for 16 plus. So we all came, it flowed, it just came a part of the process. But I knew that when I decided that I wanted to be a teacher, that was it then. Nothing else would stop me.
So even with the pursuit of that, when did you realize that epiphany? Because you said you had that epiphany in terms of like, okay, this is what I'm gearing towards. And I'm thinking about now the pursuit of success, because as you mentioned before, even when people are going on that journey, not everybody has that thing which they say they're good at, or that thing that they're interested in, or have even set goals or achievement. I speak to a lot of women who actually don't even know what they like. And I've had to go through my own process of trying to realize, wait a minute, what do I do for fun? What do I enjoy doing? What's my core interest? And so many things happen in life where you kind of lose yourself. And a lot of women, I would say majority of my friends, we talk about this all the time. So where did you come? Because you mentioned about you had a passion for teaching. So how did you discover that was your passion? You mentioned as well before that you said, you know, you're a good organizer. You believe that's just who you are. How did you discover that? How can you encourage somebody else to discover what they like or what they're good at?
So I once sat in a seminar. I want to say I was in my teens. I was probably about 14, maybe 15. And I remember the presenter saying that you have some kind of indication as to what your purpose in life is by what you used to do as a child. So what were some of the traits? What were some of the, the play that you used to do and so on and so forth? And I remember sitting back and thinking, very interesting. So I was the only child for 5 years. And I often spent time putting my teddy bears in order and teaching them and telling them what to do and all those bossy things, so I would be teaching them and so on and so forth. Then when I was playing again, I would always have a typewriter, so I'd be in the office typing up, taking appointments down, doing doing the most. And I honestly believe that all of that was just an indication as to me going into some type of business. I'm in leadership now, just naturally, and teaching. And so straight away, I went back to my childhood, and I was like, "Yeah, what did I do? What was it that really stuck out for me?" And those were the things. And I know that purpose is a topic that is very it's hit and miss. You either know what your purpose is or you don't. And it can be difficult for some people to discover it, but I guarantee you, if you spend time searching and looking and researching and searching inside yourself, you'll find your purpose and you'll find your fit. And there's always people that's around that will see what you don't see. And then from them being able to identify certain things in you, that will help just to steer you on the right direction.
I love that.
I love that.
Guys, because we have to mute our mics, you have to guess what we're thinking and saying by our illustrations. I was like, yes, the toy things in the play. But you hit the nail on the head, guys. If you don't grasp anything, that's one key thing to grasp. In fact, no, there's two things. Chantel invested in herself and went to seminars. She was in the arena of where she could find conversations or people having conversations about how do I do this. So many people are just sitting there wondering, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. You have to shift and put yourself in a position where you can then find that information. The great thing about today, I know you mentioned about in your 20s, but nowadays we have the internet in abundance. So you don't even have to leave your house. It's good to, because you do grasp more when you're in a situation. If you have a mentor, or if you don't, find a mentor, get someone who can encourage that and help you in that. I know both Chantel offers that services and T does as well. So we will plug that in just a bit. So those little areas a little bit more. But it's so important that you get connected with the right people who can help you to be able to really unpack and unpick those things that we used to do as children. I've got a passion for psychology, sociology, and we often, whenever you're speaking to anybody, if you take the time, you have to take the time, and it's being vulnerable with yourself and being honest and being open, being transparent. So to sit back and really reflect on, who am I now? Who was I then? And then you can ask the question, what happened? And then you kind of take yourself on that journey of self-discovery, so you can then find those core principles which were a part of you, the organization, in the way that you play. There's such an emphasis on children playing today, and it is for that, because you learn so much about yourself through play, through having fun. So for those of you who are here who needs to really start going back and facing who you was as a child. And I know for some of you, the childhood wasn't always the best experience. For some of you, it was great and you don't know how to get back there. For some of you who it wasn't the best experience, who may have even shut that off, I always like to advocate for counselling. If you can find someone to speak to who can help you to unpack that, if you've got a good friend as well, that's good. If you're part of a church environment, if you can go and speak to somebody there who could advise you of who you can connect with in order to really unpick it. I'm telling you guys, it's, I don't know if I can convey how valuable it is. Valuable it is to go there in order for you to then move forward. I often say you can't find out where your next destination is, even on a sat nav, until you actually acknowledge where you are. You have to wait to GPS to tell you where you are, and then it tells you how to get to that next step. But in order to find out where you are, you sometimes you have to go back even deeper to know how you got there, just to recognize if you are making the right steps. Sorry, Tay, go for it.
That is amazing. But what both of you just said, you know, I don't know if we must have all experienced it. You're in that moment where you've listened to everything and you're thinking, wow, that is just literally amazing, all packed together. I think, let me give a big shout out to Overseer Sonia Stewart and Minister Sydney. Hi guys, good to see you. Those of you who are here, please comment in the chat if you need to. If you feel that you want to make a comment, if you want to encourage Chantel or any of us on here, or if you want to tap into the gifts that Chantel has. You do coach, don't you, Chantel? Yeah, yeah. So Chantel is a coach. Because I don't know if I missed something when my computer went off while you guys were still seeing me. Hello. But she's a coach, and so just literally get in touch, or you can get in contact with me, or you can get in contact with Shares. We all have different. One of the things you can get from the show today is that we're not just thinking about individuality, but we're also thinking about the fact that everybody has a different perspective and is able to lead you differently in the way that you might need to go. There are things that you need to tap into. Where was I going to go now? Chantel, oh my gosh. So you're a minister in an awesome church. I know it's New J. My spiritual father is from there, so I am so blessed. Anyway, New Jerusalem. And how did your journey with God start, and also your journey to success start, knowing that God was there? Something like that. Anyway, that's something what I want to ask.
So I would say my journey started really. My mom got saved when I was about 4 years old, and you know, I'm still young, but I still really had a passion for the Lord, and really loved singing. So I was a part of the church choirs and everything else. And I remember when I got to age 11, and I really wanted to be baptized, but my dad was not saved. He knew about church. He went to church when he was younger, but he really kicked his heels in and was like, no, I don't think you're ready to get baptized yet. Let's wait. Long story short, I managed to convince him when I was 12 so that I could get baptized, and he agreed. And that for me was my turning point for my relationship with the Lord. And as a young person growing up, it wasn't always easy. And so, you know, you have your up days and your down days. But I always did two things, and that was I spent a lot of time with my church friends. So that I was around sound and like-minded people. So majority of my friends were in the church, and I had friends at, you know, school and things like that. But again, I found myself drawn to those who I knew were believers and knew who, you know, they knew the way, they knew the faith. And so for me, it was just all a part of my process and my journey. You know, when I left school, my relationship with the Lord was really strengthened and key. As I said, I've always had a natural leadership skill or ability. I remember my bishop going to him at the time when I was in my teenage years. They would do seminars at our church, and we'd have them for a whole day, and we'd come in and we'll get teaching and so on. And I remember going to him, I think I was about 13, and I said, we've got nothing for the young people. Why haven't we got anything for the young people? You know, the teaching is good and brilliant, but I think we need to have something that's a little bit on our level, you know, that we'll be able to understand. And if you know my bishop, you know, he will say to you, okay, go on and do it then. So literally at the age of 13, I pulled my committee together, which was majority of my friends. And we planned a whole day session for the young people to be able to just learn about God, and in our, you know, our terminology, our down to earth level, and so on and so forth. Really, we did see so many wonderful things come out of that ministry, and that carried on for many years. Again, growing up, I've always had a passion for young people, and I relate to them so well. I think I'm still young myself, to be honest with you, so that's probably why. And so I just, really have a passion. Fast forward to when myself and my husband got married. Again, our bishop had us earmarked to be the youth pastors, and we served as youth pastors for 10 years. We had an amazing 10 years. Honestly, we did. We have lasting relationships with these young people until now. And it's so lovely to see them growing up, going to university, getting married themselves, having children, developing in ministry, and everything else that, you know, has happened to them, which is good. And so all of this has just shaped me. But you'll be surprised to know that I shied away from the title of minister. It wasn't something that I wanted. All I wanted to do was serve. I didn't want the title. I just didn't. But it happened. And I'm grateful for it. I am. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to represent the Lord Jesus in the way that I do. Now, I'm fun loving. I can be serious, but I do things in my own style and way. And I think that's what's unique about me. Yes, I'm a minister, but I'm also relatable.
Chantel, I'm laughing because I definitely identify with running from the title and operating under the level that we do, because we like our lane. Don't put nothing on me. Well, I love my lane. But no, it's again, I can definitely identify with a lot that you've said. And you know, I thank God. Thank God for the example that you set in the things that you do. And it's amazing when we're under leadership, which will entrust us with those things, because what you didn't know at that young age is that you had a vision. And a lot of people today will have ideas, and they're always expecting it's somebody else has got to do it. And then they criticize the other person for not doing it the way they think it should be done. But the reality is, it's because you're the one that's supposed to be doing it, because the idea was your idea. And a lot of times we don't want to take ownership of it, and we don't always have the right people in place to push us to take ownership of it as well. So then it's a blessing that you was under that. And I know there's other people on here who have experienced those same things as well. So guys, for those of you who have experienced it, I'm going to encourage you to speak that testimony, because a lot of people don't know that this goes on, and they will criticize things which are not happening because no one's there to say, actually, no, that's not true. It is happening. There are some amazing leaders within our churches. And I want to specifically say the Black-led churches. There are some fantastic things that are going on. And God is being blessed. People are being blessed by the good stewardship of people. So, you know, thank you so much for sharing that message. I'm mindful of time, and I really want Chantel to spend some time really talking about what you're doing right now, because I've seen your website and it looks great. You look so good in your photos, girl. I'm like, she looks so happy. I was like, who is your photographer? On the bottom of the screen, guys, there is going to be links to how you can get in contact with Chantel. So I'm going to get you to talk about your website first, and then you can just go through and just talk about your book. So what are you doing?
Yeah, well, I am actually, I'm working with my passions. So at the moment, my main focus is obviously my book, because I feel that through my book, I will be able to touch the lives of young people. And so I am offering for schools of assemblies, free talks, free assemblies, just for me to go and share with the young people and just give them some hope and some motivation that, you know, they can actually do it. Following on from that, if they want coaching, one-to-one coaching or group coaching for students who may be disadvantaged or particularly struggling in the area of education, then I can also deliver that with a core team that I'm working with. Outside of the education side, I love events. And so finally, I'm formalizing my events consultancy. And so I organize weddings, birthday parties, baby showers, bridal showers, you name it, any event. I will organize it. And one thing I will say, that if you know me, you know that I will never do anything substandard. It's always going to be an event that's going to represent you and represent you well. And so I will work as hard as I can to make sure that the dream that you have for that event actually comes to pass. And so that's the second thing that I'm doing. Third thing is that I do private tutoring. And so by my profession, I teach business. And so within that, I offer tutoring for GCSE and A-level students. And actually, I've been delivering it online predominantly. So my students come from all over. So I have students in Scotland. I've had students down south and north. And so I do that as well. And then I also have brought a franchise, which is a part of the Ultra Education, where we run entrepreneurship classes for children between the ages of 7 and 17. We work on their passions. And so based on what their passion is, we help them to generate business ideas based on the gap in the market.
Wow.
Wow.
Amazing. You go. All right. We must be able to support our and praise those. You know, the Bible says, give praise to where praise is due. And I think it just, I've just gone on your website. Like, you know, it's really, really a good website, guys. Go on the website.
Sorry, my eye roll, guys, was like, you just got on the website.
I've been busy. Stopping out.
I know. No,
I did go on it. Actually, I did go on it and saw the book thing before. And then I looked at it and I thought I'll come back to it, but I didn't. Anyway, never mind. It is awesome. Really, really lovely. But not just that, guys. What you've got to understand, and I want you to take on board the fact that somebody has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And Chantel's told a story to us that she had vision, but she had a history as well, a history that was hindering her vision, and being able to literally deal with her history, deal with internal things that were going on inside of her, she then was able to start fulfilling her dream and her visions that were coming into place. There's something she said really for you to understand, is that she said that she started doing the youth ministry at church, but she not only did it on her own, she didn't think that she was an island. she didn't think that I don't want anybody to come into my group of thought so that they can take away my vision. She didn't think anything like that. She thought, actually, I need the team that are around me, my peers, to help me. And sometimes people, the reason why we don't go any further in our lives is because we're fearful of opening ourselves to those around us. What she did was opened herself to those around her and allowed them to input in what she thought was a good vision, what she thought was something that was necessary and essential. And her and her husband eventually were brought into position. I hope I got the storyline right. Anyway, I think I have brought into position as youth leaders, and they were able to help others. This started from that place. This started from that place of saying that I need to do something, not because my history tells me that I shouldn't do it, but because I know that I can see these things and I need to get them started and get them done. And so I want you to be inspired and encouraged and recognize that you're actually not alone. You may be looking, one of the things she said when she said, and I wrote this down beside it, her church friends, she literally, so I had to write it down, okay? She, after getting saved, thought it was essential to surround herself with the right company that were wanting to speak the same language that she was speaking, and this is my interpretation, and then take on board encouragement from them, being able to understand each other. My mum used to say, you know a person by the company they keep. That's what my mum used to say, right? Bad company breaks, exactly. Bad company breaks good morals. Literally, that's what my mum used to say. And what I want to say to you is that she recognized the sort of company that she needed. She didn't go for probably the ones who looked a different way. She thought, this is what I need. I need spiritual grounding. I need to be in the right environment in order to grow and in order to pursue my goals. So what I want to encourage you today, guys, check out what's around you. Check out what's going on around you, what the people are. Are the people around you draining you, or are they inputting? Because what you've got to understand is that for you to achieve, you also need to understand that you've got to be able to move forward. And if people are draining you and you're not able to move forward, then you need to consider, what do I need to drop? What do I need to do differently? And there's a lot more I could say, actually, because I've only got things right on it. Good leaders also submit. She said for her to be called to come into ministry, she didn't really want the title. And girlfriend, I hear you, like clear. And she didn't want the title because she didn't want it to probably hold her back in any shape or form. But to whom much is given, much is required. And so I believe that God brought you into ministry for the purpose of developing all the arenas around you. So leaders, she served before she was even jumping into leadership. Some of you out there today want to jump into leadership and you've never served. You want people to serve you and you've never served, right? When you've served, Jesus served the people. When he ministered to them, he said, come on now, we got to feed them, right? There's something. So there's this, what would I call it? There's this, I'm losing all my words today. Anyway, I don't really care. So there's this thing that, working together is really important, iron sharpens iron. Hey, that's the word I wanted. Yeah. Iron sharpens iron, working together, doing the things right. And guys, you've got to understand that Chantel is saying to you, literally, basically, this was her journey. She was not the top in educational factor. And she's written this book. And guys, you guys need to go out, book your book, because it's pre-order. So you can pre-order it and book it. So Chantel, I'm going to cut down because we're on time. And I just want you, Chantel, to Shez, did you want to say anything, babes?
Yeah, I just had one thing. just before, very quickly. Guys, even as Chantel was talking, it was just reminding me of an episode. Well, it was a series that we was doing, and it was based on leadership skills, and it was those hidden leadership skills that was needed. And one of those ones which we did about was about being humble. We also talked about, you know, being transparent, being honest, and all these other kind of areas. So if you haven't watched those shows, I encourage you to watch it, because we're touching on a few things here which we do go into in a lot more detail in those episodes as well. But even as you both were speaking, actually, what came into my mind is for that person who is disqualifying themselves.
That's a good one.
Because there's a lot of people who will say, well, I can't do that because I'm this. Every single time you're speaking to them and you're saying, oh, why don't you do that? Because, you know, you can see, other people can see what you've got, but you can't see it. Instead, you're constantly, well, I haven't got this, but I haven't got that. I haven't got this, I haven't that. I'm not this, I'm not that. And I really want to speak into that, because that is a spirit. There's a blockage there, and you're allowing it to control your destiny. So I want to encourage you now, because that really just dropped into my spirit as we're speaking. If you're that person who's watching, who is constantly going against that, but I can't, but this, but that, I'm going to encourage you now to literally step out of that. You need to move out of your own way. Move out of your own way. There's something in you that God has placed in you, and you are qualified to do it. Yes, you might not have all the tools. Yes, you might not have all the knowledge or the understanding on that area, but you have to start taking those steps to doing what you have been called to do, or what is in your heart to do. That's that thing that keeps you up at night. Stop allowing your insecurities to derail what needs to be done in order for other people, because it's not about you. It's not about where you are. It's not about your limitations. The Bible talks about, in terms of, there's so many people in there who had limitations, that struggled in the areas that they have stepped out into. Chantel's testament right now is evidence of that. And I'm sure even throughout that process, even T, when she was recalling your process of linking with good people, you mentioned about your behavior issues in school. So let's just be real. A lot of us are in those situations and we think, oh, but I'm not ready. I'm still doing this. I'm still smoking. I'm still, you know, I still want to have sex. I still want to do this. I still want to do that. I want to do all these areas, but you don't realize, if you keep sitting in those areas that I still want to do, you are literally allowing that to keep you down. So in those moments, okay, I still have these urges, but I'm pushing. You have to push. You have to push through your urges, through those habits which are holding you down. And it's going to take you really pressing forward. When you have a weight, when the wind is blowing really hard, but you know you need to get to the shops to go and get some food because your children, them are hungry, you're going to walk through that wind. Yes, you're walking slower because you feel that force pushing you back, but you're going to make sure you walk to get there. So you've got to make sure, even in the, as you would operate in the natural, it's the same way you've got to operate in the spiritual with our mindsets. Our feelings have to be moved away, and we have to press through, because there's something that needs to be done. Yes, we're not all there yet. Yes, we're a work in progress, but there's a process to success. And that process means that we need to get up and do something. Just one very quick word before I hand back over to Chantel, which has really kind of resonated with me this week. Fruit, you know, the Bible talks about we're supposed to be fruitful. Fruit grows. So there's a process of that fruit growing. Also, guys, fruit decays. So we can have certain things that we're going in through our life where that fruit within us can decay. But the great thing about this fruit from God is that we can cut those decaying parts of our lives. We can cut it off and get rid of that. And the fruit is still edible. You know, as a child, how you used to get the apple, and you're like, oh, that's fun. And your mum used to just cut it off for you, your dad cut it off, or somebody cut it off for you, and you were still able to eat what you had. We have to do that for ourselves. We have to start recognizing those areas of decay in our fruit, cut it off, but doesn't stop us from still being fruitful.
Yeah.
So still keep moving, guys. If you do have areas of slip, of decay, let's get ready to cut it off. If there's areas of decay that you've not detected, but somebody else detects, don't get upset with them. Cut it off.
Yeah.
Allow somebody to check your fruit for you and to cut it off. But don't allow yourself to not be able to see your fruit and focus on the thing that you've cut off that stops you from moving forward. If it's cut off, let it go. Be fruitful. So I just want to drop that right there. Chantel.
Chantel, we want you to do Chantel, we want you to do an inspiring word just to everybody, so that they can be inspired and move forward from this day forward.
Okay. So I encounter many encounters with individuals, and they will often say to me, I don't know how you do it. Like the amount of things I see you're in, and the amount of things that you do, and you still do this and you still do that and you still that. And it's interesting. But the scripture that come to me was Philippians 4 verses 13 that says, I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. And sometimes I don't even know how I do it myself, but I know that the God that I serve is constantly keeping me going. He's keeping me ticking, he's allowing me to have the abilities and the strategies to make things happen. So I do not take it lightly. I do not think it's my own strength, but I know that it's the strength of God. So I will say to anybody that's out there that's doubting, whether you're good enough or whether you are qualified enough, just understand the God that is in you and understand the calling that is on your life. Because regardless of what men may say or men may do, the word of the Lord will always stand. And so I say to you that you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you.
Amen. So Chantel, how do we, because I know we've got it on the screen, but I want you to just kind of say, how do we get your book? What's your website? What's your handle? How do people contact you? Because guys, this is a book of success. Chantel's giving us some nuggets. I'd say nuggets in terms of what the book is. And I purposely didn't want her to say too much because all I need to go and read it, go buy it and so I want to go and support what Chantel's doing. She's been doing so much stuff, as you can see, lots of kingdom things. And I know she does a lot of things for free, but in all of those other stuff that she's doing, there needs to be some investment. It's not easy doing a book. It's not really a money maker in that sense. However, guys, you can sow into Chantel through buying a book, but I believe also you're sowing into her, but you're getting the tools to assist yourself as well. So invest in yourself, invest in Chantel. This is a woman of God. She's doing so much, and we want to make sure. I love your success story right now. I celebrate successes like this. It's absolutely fantastic. So I want to say, well done, Chantel. Thank you so much for being this good example. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. Where can we get your book?
You can access my book via my website, which is on the screen now. So that's www.chantelbrooks.co.uk. As soon as you go onto that site, it will take you into a link. You just click on pre-order. Now, the book has been released today, and so I should have some physical copies in my hand by next week. So if you place your order today, those will be sent out to you a latter part of next week. You can also contact me on my website, or you can contact me on social media, as we're living in that society now. So for those of you that are on Instagram, my official page is @official Chantel Brooks. And I had to give in, and I've got a TikTok page as well. So my TikTok page is @official Chantel Brooks. I'm also on Facebook, so go on and like my page. It's Chantel Brooks. I'm on LinkedIn and I'm on Threads, and all of those handles are Chantel Brooks. You can contact T and Shez as well if you have missed this, and I'm sure that they will they will send my details on. But really and truly, I'm here to help young people. I'm also here to help parents, because I'm a parent myself, and having gone through this with my son, I know what parents go through as well. And I'm also a teacher, so I've seen it from all angles. So I know the struggles, and I know also the rewards from it as well. So it's been brilliant being on today. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you so much. So guys, you can hold us, so you can talk.
No, we've got 2 seconds left. So guys, we love you. Have a great week, and don't forget to get your book. Bye.
Talks with Chantel.